A major debut is set for next week's SmackDown. A significant AEW name has departed the company. And we have backstage news on WWE's plans for Goldberg versus Gunther. Stay tuned for all the wrestling news. During last night's SmackDown, we saw another vignette, another teaser for what appears to be
the Car City Fast Boys.
Exactly them, the Detroit Bad Boys. It's the Motor City Machine Guns themselves. This was confirmed, obviously, this past week by a report from Fightful Select, who said, indeed, it was the Motor City Machine Guns, but we got actual confirmation from WWE last night that it is them, and they're coming to SmackDown next week. We saw another teaser with cars and lights in Detroit. Definitely Detroit. We saw 8 Mile on there, and then some spray paint that said MCMG. So
McMug.
if that doesn't tell you who's coming, I don't know what does. Are you excited to see them join the roster?
I think it's just they've been one of those what ifs for such a long time that there's just so many tantalizing matchups we can have, and people who aren't even maybe factored in right now on the other side of the brand war. So it's one of those where they're hopefully going to land, make a splash, and then during the next draft we'll move them over to the other side and have them face a whole bunch of other people.
They feel like a team, I think you said long time coming. This feels like a team that WWE should have signed about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
round about then,
maybe
when they were
they
were doing incredible things,
massive breakout stars.
Yeah, and finally they're getting that moment now of being on SmackDown. We're not sure what they're going to do next week, but I hope they immediately get put in that title picture.
Fraser's saying it now. Just sign everybody, and when they debut, give them the belts.
Give them the belts. Give Motor City Machine Guns the belts. Well, prior to last night's SmackDown, Fightful Select also provided another update on this, saying that despite speculation that the plans were changed because the Lucha Brothers contracts with WWE fell through, that's not the case. They were always meant to debut in this way, according to Fightful Select.
There had been a lot of reports that they were going to be going via NXT for a quick stop first. The Lucha Brothers thing obviously has thrown a little bit of fuel onto the speculation fire. So I can see where it came from, but it's good to see that they landed on major TV.
Well, Lucha Brothers, we're going to move back over to AEW and discuss a bit of AEW news with a Fightful Select report saying that Jimmy Jacobs has left AEW after he submitted his resignation just this past week. The report notes that he's already done with the company, despite it just being a very, very recent resignation. Of course, Jacobs, former wrestler, former writer for WWE. He'd worked closely with Tony Khan since joining AEW back in June of 2023 after he left TNA Impact. But he's been reportedly feeling quite burnt out recently. This is going to, according to the report, this gives AEW officials a way to freshen up the writing team.
Yeah, and it also says that both sides kind of arrived at this point amicably, so there's not really any hard feelings there. I guess as well, he's suffering from burnout. There's not a lot of things worse when you're in sort of a creative position.
Yeah.
When things just aren't firing, when you're kind of hitting the wall over and over again. Sometimes you just need to take some time, get out of the bubble completely, and then sort of reassess and step back in.
And he's been in wrestling a very, very long time, Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah. I mean, from the point he was a performer through to now,
So I'm not surprised that 40 years old, he's experiencing a little bit of burnout. It's also horrible thinking that Jimmy Jacobs is 40 years old.
Just don't.
It makes me feel old, Sam. It makes me feel old.
You feel old.
It does. But speaking with the AEW just now, we've got a little bit of an update on Ricky Starks. Now, he's been someone that we've all been like, what's going on with Ricky Starks?
Yeah. So he was speaking during a virtual signing for High Spots, and he claims that he has no clue why AEW isn't using him right now. He said, "I'm healthy, I'm of sound mind and body, I'm capable to wrestle, just, not up to me. I wish I could give an answer why I'm not on TV. I'm healthy, I'm ready to get back in the ring. I'm in shape, obviously, always been in shape. Sometimes it just isn't up to me, I guess, as they say. So I love wrestling, and I'm going to figure out a way to do it one way or another. But, I at least think I owe fans some type of explanation to the best of my ability, to the best of my knowledge. So some people don't want to believe that. That's fine. I don't give a flip. But yeah, I wish I had more of a definite answer. But sometimes darkness is your only friend when you're definitely trying to find the light."
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Ricky Starks going forward. He feels like someone that the ship has sailed in AEW for him. I feel like if they were going to use him, they would have used him by now. I think it's just biding his time until he's free of that contract.
Yeah, I just don't really get it. It feels like he was like they had everything lined up in order to pull the trigger, and then they just went, nah.
They had the stuff with Danielson. You had the stuff with Punk prior to him leaving AEW. You've had the stuff with Adam Copeland at the start of the year. You had him in a tag team with Big Bill, but it just seems like every time there's something, there's another issue right there. I do believe we'll see him in WWE, and he is just waiting for that moment.
This is sort of the the hype train is rolling toward that. There's a lot of speculation being going on around that for quite some time now. Ricky Starks in WWE, I can see it working.
I could absolutely see it working. I think he'd probably head to NXT first. But I really wouldn't. If he feels main roster ready, but I imagine WWE would want to send him there. I would like to see him back in AEW. There is other matches there that I want to see and have him just have a run, have a wrestle.
Seeing him be utilized in any way when he's sitting here healthy, ready to wrestle, but nah.
I'm sure there's also another side to it. Obviously, this was his side. Yeah. I'm sure there is a company side as to why he's not being used. But as for him, he says he isn't sure why. We have some news about a legend signing a deal with WWE. We've seen so many legends signing with WWE over the past few weeks and months. The latest of which, Hornswoggle,
your close personal friend.
A close personal friend. He appeared in our Over the Top Rope documentary at the start of the year. What a lad. What a lovely lad that Hornswoggle is. But he has confirmed at ACW in Wisconsin that he has signed a Legends deal with WWE this last week. This allows him to be featured in video games, have WWE produce action figures on him, and just make appearances, on behalf of the company. Yeah,
on behalf of the company, and usually whenever they'll do a throwback one, they'll bring out Legends. So I imagine we're going to see a little bit more of him here and there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really cool. He's he's just a massive fan of wrestling before he was part of the industry.
Yeah.
So for him to be able to continue to appear in games, to continue to have kind of merch being put out by the company, he's got to be loving it.
And considering when he spoke to me, he was mentioning about his son is a big fan of wrestling now, so it must be pretty cool to be like, I'm a legend.
Yeah.
I'm a legend.
Undeniably.
Yeah.
It says it in the contract.
I'm a legend, son.
I am the same as Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, exactly. We've got some fallout from last night's SmackDown and actually bad blood from last weekend as Kevin Owens continued his heel turn. This came on last night's SmackDown as he attacked Randy Orton backstage following a sort of altercation between Cody and Orton and Owens in ring earlier in the night. He feels that Orton has picked a side between the two of them.
Yeah, and then he said that he feels that Cody's turned on him rather than the other way around. This led Cody to come out with Orton arriving to play the peacemaker between them, but it of course just devolved into blows between Owens and Orton in the ring, and Owens is just not a happy bunny right now.
No,
he's not a happy bunny right now, and he wants the world to know it.
I think, we're bound to get this match between Owens and Cody again. I feel though maybe Crown Jewel is where we'll get Orton and Owens as that set up, and then whoever wins there will go on to face Cody. But I feel like we have seen a little bit too much of this Cody and Owens
do it in a car park
thing recently.
Make a circle of buses.
And
like lock them all in together. So there's no escape. They just make them fight.
They've made Hell in a Cell menacing again. I'm sure they can make a backstage brawl menacing again. That's for sure. But I mentioned Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, future events that these matches could happen at, and we've got a report about one that I'm kind of relieved to hear this news. As per
Nobody's relieved to hear this news. Everybody wants Big Bill back, and they want Big Bill back with all the gold.
I would love to see the
women's
big red tree, Big Bill come back. That's what I want.
No, he doesn't exist. Big Bill Goldberg.
Well, according to a report,
sue him, actually.
He should. Yeah, you should maybe.
Nobody should be allowed to use the name Bill.
Send him a message on Twitter.
Goldberg. Have you noticed this?
I'm sure he would respond as well. I'm sure he would. You are his biggest fan. Well, thankfully, the report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter says WWE has no immediate plans for Gunther versus Goldberg. Thank God. It says it's not in the cards for either Survivor Series or WrestleMania at this time. However, it does note that this could change, and it references the fact that Triple H, speaking at the Bad Blood media scrum following the show, responded to the idea of Goldberg wrestling again and said, never say never. And I do believe him that it could happen.
It smacks of international show. this match. But at the same time, you got to think that if this is Goldberg's last match, he's going to want it done on American soil. He's going to want it main event in WrestleMania, and he's going to take Cody's belt off him in order to do it. Title for title, Gunther loses. We got IC Goldberg and Big Belt Goldberg, and then we glue them together, and then we've got the Intercontinental World title.
Yep. I disagree. Funnily enough, and I think the comments might.
I think. Look, if Goldberg's coming back, it's going to be, possibly his last match.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to have to take place on American soil. The fact it's not being factored into the next couple of pay-per-views means that it's probably going to be something we very slowly chip away at.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have Goldberg come out somewhere down the line toward Rumble or something and attack Gunther
and do something there.
Yeah, but I think it's just going to build up to a big exhibition between both. Gunther obviously is going to beat him, but I think it's going to be one of those where it doesn't really need a quick build, because the second you slap it on the card,
it's
anybody
there.
who likes
It's
Goldberg's going to see it. Plus, at the same time, Goldberg in Georgia, it just sort of made sense to do that there. It might actually turn out to be completely not
just unrelated.
Yeah.
I do disagree in the sense of I think if it's going to happen, it'll be on a Saudi show, because we know that his payday for those was $2 million a match.
Yeah, no, he can do those shows anyway. But
them.
I think if this is going to be his last match, he's going to want to do it in America.
Good, potentially. Let us know. Where do you want to see the match between Gunther and Goldberg? I think it would certainly be. It would certainly be intense. Let us know in the comments below. Is that a Wrestle Dream for you? Speaking of Wrestle Dream, we've got Wrestle Dream tonight. Reactions with Sam and Ross.
Yes.
It's happening tonight. You'll have the 0 hour coverage before the main show. You'll have all that overnight. You'll have what happened on the channel after. Maybe some wrestling news as well, because the news never stops, Sam.
So from 11:30, me and Ross are going to be live here on YouTube, youtube.com/cultaholic/live. The room is live now. So get in the chat, leave a load of abuse, and then when we come and sit down later, we'll look at it and we'll go, that's what people think of us.
And even earlier to that, at 6 p.m. tonight on TikTok, we have a special TikTok Live DJ collaboration with Ghost Bandit, getting you ready for Wrestle Dream, playing some wrestle music, just having some good vibes.
It's all like a big mix. It's going to be sick.
It's going to be some good vibes. So check out TikTok at Cultaholic for that. And we will see you later on today.